Success Insight shares the stories of the people with passion and drive who make things happen in the world. Here's your host, Howard Fox.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mindset Monday with Andrée Martin on the Success Insight podcast. Now, Andrée is your leadership mindset and golf performance coach. She's an LPGA Class A Life member, a nationally recognized top 50 golf teacher and expert, and a member of the Maine Golf Hall of Fame, recognizing golf's value as a business tool in today's competitive marketplace. Andrée works with individuals, groups, corporate and organizational clients to create educational and team-building programs that enhance the professional success of aspiring executives. Andrée, welcome back to another episode of Mindset Monday on the Success Insight podcast.
Thanks, Howard. Always fun to collaborate together and share with the audience a new mindset focus for the week that helps both with business and sport.
That is right on target for where we want to be. And it's the beginning of September. So we are in the trailing third of the year, 2021. What a year.
Hard to believe the summer has come and gone and we're into apple season. I can't believe it.
Apples. I love apples, but I got to stay away from those caramel apples. Excessive amounts of sugar, just not a good thing. But I'm sure you get some great apples out there.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. So I could sit here and talk food with you all day, but what's in store for us today on this episode of Mindset Monday?
Today is 5 steps to breaking away from an old mindset.
Okay. And how are we going to do that?
We become aware. Is there a problem? Is there not a problem? Stop it. Admit it's no longer serving you and acknowledge that to yourself so that with that awareness, you can then immediately shift. Now we've used the SMART goals. We know what we need to do. We've got the plan laid out. Now, what are the skills and tactics that we need to break out of this, acknowledging that this is not serving us? How are we going to break out of it? Well, first of all, you want to bring in your coach. You want to be coachable and to learn. And that's why we get to have so much fun doing what we do, Howard. You know, we're working with coaches and teammates. And when you think about it from a business perspective, whether you're playing your sport or in business, everybody gets stuck in one way or another, don't they?
Sure.
One of my favorite sayings in teaching golf is by letting go of control, you have control.
I love it.
And when I continue to work with business leaders, they say, you're so spot on. How do we get into the flow? How do we get into the zone? By letting go of the control and just being and allowing yourself to trust what you've learned so far and become aware of what you still need in terms of tools to get yourself back on track, to get yourself back in the flow as quickly as possible. You're going to get better and better by handling the pressure and breaking through.
Andrée, so I've got a question. This seems so easy, but this is hard stuff. This is not easy because that old mindset has been around protecting us, perhaps. You know, maybe that's that proverbial gremlin on our shoulder, but it's been around for a while, whether it's on the course or whether it's in the business. How do we recognize that this old mindset is really getting in our way and we can then let go? Seems to me that's easier said than done.
And it is. I absolutely acknowledge that. And it is the ego and the intellect getting in the way. And in golf, there is a matter of trust in your game. And when we don't trust or we get under pressure, we tend to fall back into old habits. You and I have spoken in the past, and I think this is a good time to bring this up, to release mindset. A lot of times people get stuck either on specific holes on the golf course, or there's a specific part of their golf game that needs addressing. So where do you stress under pressure? And how does this correlate to business? What fears pop up when you're under pressure? What holds you back and freezes you? What fears do you need to overcome? What pops up for you? And then the flip side, in golf, it's easier because I have to remind everybody it's a game you play, right? So breathe, get into that think box, bury that tension, acknowledge it, get into breathing, shift gears, visualize what it's like when you're in the flow, and create a greater game plan and stick to it. So, how do we handle pressure in business? Howard, you've had many instances.
A lot of it is practice. It's communication. It's over communication with your team about what the vision is and the direction, giving them the tools to succeed and to trusting that they are going to carry out the plan, whatever that plan is. And along the way, you as a manager or as a leader are evaluating the effectiveness all the time about that plan and making course corrections and holding people accountable. They've made a commitment. They understand what they need to do. You've given them all the tools. Now it's about holding them and yourself accountable.
And that's a big deal. So you're creating your game plan, and to stick to it, these course corrections, yeah, you might be in a hazard on the golf course. How are you going to correct that? Action. How are you going to stick to it? There's something to be said for the discipline and responsibility that you have admitted to take and agreed to take on, whether it is in your sport or your business. And in doing so, how do you bring yourself back on track? Do you have to change your routine? No, chances are you're not doing your routine the way you agreed to do in your plan. The old mindset was really good at throwing you off of track. The new mindset, which we will talk about in greater detail in our next session and episode, takes this change in routine, your game plan of block and random practice with specific, focused, measurable practice, and then direct application in the field. This all applies in both business and sport. And your checkpoints. The more you check into those checkpoints, I'm always checking in with my students, especially when they're in tournament play. How are they managing the pressure? How are they checking in with themselves? And how do they get it back in other events? If it's new, you're learning new ways to rewire your neurology. And that's where my NLP master practice comes in, where I'm helping folks break through their fears, break through the barriers that they didn't even know maybe was holding them back. And it's a new reality, a new realization to get them back on course and accelerate their progress and success even more.
Sure.
In recap to the whole breaking away from the mindset, you're testing your plan under success, you're going through your practice, you're adjusting the routine to be consistent, even more detailed than ever. Am I saying it's getting longer? No, you're still maintaining that fast routine so that you're getting back on track quickly. But the mindset, you're using breathing, you're using visualization, you're using the vision that you have committed to, and staying on track to persevere and trusting that you have the strength and belief in yourself to carry it forward, and that your coach has your back.
Fantastic. And what is your sense of the acceptance of this approach of breaking away from these old mindsets that's getting in your way? You work with a lot of people. What's your sense of their reaction to this?
They're acknowledging that it's there, and they're tired of it coming up over and over and over again. And so what I'm finding is people are more and more open to say, hey, look, I'm done with this. Let's move through it. And that's why I'm doing these great breakthroughs for people using the NLP practices and helping people create a whole new way of being and letting go of what they realize is no longer serving them and what is really holding them back. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty of that.
Can you share an example of perhaps one of your most recent students that you have worked with and how this approach of helping them step away from these old mindsets or break away from the old mindsets and create a new reality for them? What's an example that you can share, Andrée?
Well, one example is the Think Box, Go Box that we've spoken about very frequently. And it's shifting what is done in that Think Box. It's learning how to use breathing and visualization and dumping what is fearfully come up for them. What is making that pressure cooker higher and shifting it into using it to fuel their success instead. And it is a complete shift. And the minute you step over that into the play and the swing area and are actually executing the shot, you're trusting that shift and you're trusting all the work and preparation that you've done to achieve it. I've also helped several students this summer. One incredible story of helping eliminate the yips. And that's going through an extensive breakthrough where we're removing old beliefs that are no longer serving and that are actually came up through other sports. And then it somehow reared its ugly head through their golf game. And then they also realized how it occurred in other sports in high school, and it carried into college and studies and their practice and business. And in shifting it in golf, their whole life shifted. It's been amazing the impact we've been able to make for them. It's a combination of personal and values breakthrough. Best way I can describe it.
Very good. Andrée, before we kind of head out, can you once again for our listeners summarize the 5 steps that you've shared to break away from the old mindset?
Certainly. First is awareness. And once you're aware, you're stopping it.
Right.
Secondly, what are the skills and tactics you need to break out of this? And a lot of that is what you've already worked through in your SMART goals and with your coach. And third is create a game plan and stick to it through change of routine, how you're practicing, how you're testing the plan under stress, as well as just testing how you're doing with all of your data that you're collecting in both your sport and your business success. Checking it often, keeping and staying the course is the 5th.
Very good. Definitely extremely valuable. And I also, by the way, you and I know each other very well. And I love how you have incorporated your coach training along with your prowess and experience as a highly acclaimed, very successful golf instructor. So, I love how you've combined both of these areas. And I can imagine what's going on in your students' heads and how they feel, how this change is affecting them. So again, it's a wonderful opportunity to kind of hear about it from you when you're on the podcast. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Howard. It's been a pleasure.
Fantastic. Now, before we do let you head out there, Andrée, if our listeners would like to learn more about you and your work, where's the best places for them to go?
Sure. The best place for them to go is through my LinkedIn site. I also have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and of course, our whole list is on Spotify now. So you can see several episodes and reach out to me through my website, which is andreegolf.com. And that's Andrée with 2 E's.
Fantastic. Well, we will most certainly, as I share every episode with you, Andrée, we're going to provide all the backlinks back to your website and your social sites. And our listeners will also have access to find these episodes on Spotify. I want to say we're in the 40 episode range now, so you can almost travel clear across country,
We are indeed. That's right. You've got plenty to listen to keep you sharp and awake along the road.
Fantastic. Well, Andrée, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we have just been chatting with Andrée Martin on Mindset Monday on the Success Insight podcast. And we hope you enjoyed today's episode, the 5 steps to breaking away from an old mindset. Lots of great insights and anecdotes that were shared by Andrée. You can also find this episode on successinsightpodcast.com, as well as on our LinkedIn and Facebook pages. We're also on the major podcasting platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, the downloading platforms like iHeartRadio, Pandora, and of course, Spotify, where we do have the Mindset Monday with Andrée Martin playlist. And you can certainly listen to all of those at your leisure. Just go ahead and download those and you're ready to go. Okay, folks, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there, have a phenomenal day. And we will see you on another episode of Mindset Monday with Andrée Martin on the Success Insight podcast. Take care now.
Success Insight is a production of Fox Coaching and First Story Strategies. Find us online, successinsightpodcast.com.